Right here on a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday afternoon in Palm Springs, California. Indio, to be exact. San Diego has played one game in this tournament, a 3-1 loss to NYCFC. Their first game ever in front of public eyes for the Portland Timbers. This is their third game of the tournament, and they look to remain undefeated after a 0-0 draw with the Chicago Fire and a 2-1 victory over San Jose in the opener. For San Diego, it's not quite their first choice 11, at least early days. Their DPs of Andres Dreer and Chucky Lozano, the Mexican star, are not in the starting lineup, but there's still a lot to pay attention to, including the man that's going to get it underway. Number 29, Anis Saidi, just 16 years old. They sent up to $350,000 in general allocation money to Philadelphia to acquire his services and be the poster child for the new San Diego Right to Dream Academy down in Southern California. Let's get it underway. We'll go through the Portland Timbers starting lineups in just a moment as Ima Boateng gets it taken off. Ian Smith, the 14th overall pick in the most recent draft, whips it across and just a smidge overcooked and out for the first goal kick of the game. Let's set the lineup for the Portland Timbers. In net will be James Pantemis, who was more than a backup last year. Actually had more clean sheets than the presumed starter in Max Crepeau, but he is the number 2 heading into the 2025 season. It will be a back three of Miguel Araujo, Zach McGraw, and then Ian Smith, traditionally a left back. He'll be playing on the left side of the center back three. Left wing back will be Claudio Bravo, the longtime Argentine with the Timbers. On the right side, Anthony playing that spot for the second consecutive game. At midfield 2 of João Ortiz and David Ashala. Just in front of them will be Christian Paredes, and then a strike partnership of Kevin Kelsey and Felipe Mora, who Phil Neville called Mora a mentor for the 20-year-old Kelsey, who was the highest-scoring teenager in MLS a season ago. San Diego, Alex Maiten gets it taken away on the far side, and Miguel Araujo plays a pass into the middle, and Zach McGraw will orchestrate things from the center. James Pantemis plays a long diagonal ball, uses his pace well. He's onside. Dances past one, Valakari draped all over his shoulder, the Finnish international with 11 caps. He didn't start last game for San Diego, but he was one of the strongest players in the second half. His dad, a former pro for FC Dallas, Simo Valakari. João Ortiz tiptoes the line, and then San Diego, an avoidable mistake by Jasper Lofelsend, takes it out and for a corner kick. Jasper Lofelsend from Cologne, Germany. He's only been in MLS for 4 years, though he's 27 years old. A third-round draft pick by RSL in 2022, and he has scrapped and clawed for all the minutes he has earned. And San Diego noticed taking him in the expansion draft, capable as a midfielder and a fullback. And now the Portland Timbers whip in their first corner of the game. David Ashala will lengthen his stride to get there and play it safely back to the new signing, the Ecuadorian international João Ortiz, who will likely see the lion's share of minutes in midfield. McGraw in an advanced position, playing it up to Kelsey, who will be shielded off the ball, and then foul Paddy McNair, the Northern Irishman. McNair scored the first goal in San Diego history in front of public eyes. They did have two behind closed-door scrimmages, but against NYCFC over the weekend on Saturday, he scored off of a corner. They went up 1-0. Oh, what a takeaway, nearly by Kevin Kelsey, stalking within the penalty arc. As I was mentioning, Paddy McNair scored off a corner, but then they gave up the next 3 goals. They thought they had leveled it at 2 apiece when Arabal Godoy, the veteran, started in midfield, smashed it from the top of the box, but it was taken away. This, of course, just preseason, results not final, but the Timbers would like to snatch another win. Few key first-team members not in the roster right now. Jonathan Rodriguez is here with the team, but is not dressing. Santiago Moreno and Juan Mascaro, the Colombian connection, outright still injured. Lofelsen being chased down by Claudio Bravo. Luca De La Torre, the U.S. international, who's best as an attacking number 8, dribbles around Ashala. First attack and entry into the final third, and will stay just on the periphery as Anis Saidi, the 16-year-old, wins the opportunity. It's a big question for San Diego FC, where 2 of the midfielders are essentially spoken for. Their DP captain, Ipe Tverskov, coming over from Nordsjælland, their sister club in Denmark, and Luca De La Torre, a U.S. international, who's in here big part because Pochettino does not have a bias against MLS, and he wanted to come back to his hometown. It will be a question of who is the third midfielder next to that duo. A wall of 2 halves itself, and Ante will stand in the way. De La Torre whips it out left, stalks towards the back post, and James Pantemis safely possesses. So from this angle, that ball did cross over the chalk, and it'll be the first corner of the game for San Diego. They elected to go short on the majority of their attempts versus NYCFC 4 days ago. Now this drastically new 11 for the 30th team in Major League Soccer, but they go with that approach yet again. Quickly stonewalled by Anthony, who is typically a forward for the Timbers, but in this preseason has been playing as a wing-back in the 3-at-the-back system. One of the best defensive forwards the Portland Timbers has to offer. Incredible speed. Second attempt is a more direct one. Saidi sends it back to where it came from, essentially defending for the Portland Timbers. And here's a look at Anthony's speed. Christian Paredes, wearing the captain's armband, will be with them. A 2-on-2 break. Lofelsen and Boateng to defend. And the pass towards the penalty arc will be swatted aside. San Diego put the brakes on things and catch their breath. Portland and San Diego will meet twice through the regular season, though we're going to have to wait some time. The end of summer, Portland will go down to Snapdragon Stadium, play at San Diego on August 23rd, and then Decision Day surely will matter. It has for the Portland Timbers the last 3 years. Decision Day, always crucial. That game will be at Providence Park October 18th. And for San Diego, while this is their first year in MLS, the 30th franchise in this great league, they'll be playing a lot more action than just MLS, as My10 is given a ball to run onto and play back to James Pantemis. They'll be taking Vancouver's spot in Leagues Cup this year, and they will also be playing in the U.S. Open Cup. So a trophy possible for Mikey Veras, the first-year head coach, and really the first time he's ever been a club head coach for San Diego FC. Talking to their sporting director, Tyler Heaps, during the week, said they talked to upwards of 30 candidates, seriously took 12 to 14, but every step of the way, 44-year-old Mikey Veras, who you may know most recently as his time with the U.S. men's national team when he was an interim between Greg Berhalter, the current Chicago coach, and Mauricio Pochettino, the current manager of the national team. Back to the action, where San Diego recycle it with the back line. Luca De La Torre makes himself an avenue. Instead, they'll drive it with the center backs. Last year, the Timbers rarely played a 3-back formation and seldomly had 2 strikers on the field at the same time. Jonathan Rodriguez can be classified as that, as a ball over the top is going to catch Kevin Kelsey offside. He waves his finger in frustration, but even so, the touch wasn't the cleanest. Kevin Kelsey, one of the biggest additions in Major League Soccer this season. Another interleague kind of switch. Though he was bought from Shakhtar Donetsk in Ukraine for $6 million, he did play for FC Cincinnati last year, something Timbers GM Ned Grabavoy put a lot of value on. San Diego sprinting up the far flank. Maiten puts it a low ball. Ima Boateng gets his studs on top of it, and Pantemis pounces on the scraps. Timbers have one of the best goalkeeping rooms in MLS. Wouldn't be surprised if San Diego may be inquired for someone like Pantemis, who's listed as a backup, and a good long ball will catch Kevin Kelsey offside for the second time in as many minutes. Pantemis from Montreal, Quebec. Of course, he speaks French. In his 14 starts last year, he had 5 clean sheets with a 7-win, 3-loss, and 4-draw record. Valakari licking up play just inside the halfway line. Alex Maiten will toss it back. Ian Pilcher, who was their 24th overall pick in the 2025 MLS Super Draft. Something unique about San Diego is they do not have an MLS Next Pro team, so it's really first team or bust for Pilcher, and he's already earned that honor. He's not the most physically gifted center back in MLS, but his ball-playing ability for a team that emphasizes playing out from the back is there. 24th overall pick out of Charlotte. Ball living in the neutral third in the 10th minute. Timbers 0, San Diego the same. Portland looking for their first goal of the Coachella Valley Invitational in a week after their scoreless draw with Chicago. Did yield some big chances, especially in the half, but 31-year-old backup keeper for Chicago, Jeff Gall, kept that game scoreless. Miguel Araujo, who's playing as the right-sided center back, a position in which he plays for his nation of Peru. Zach McGraw over to Pantemis. Has Ian Smith as an option. You can hear players on the pitch shouting for Ian to get it, and then he's going to go with a long ball. An impressive one at that, though will come up a stride short of Kelsey. João Ortiz stays on the deck, dribbles past one, and shows his strength well. Ashala, the best passer perhaps on the pitch. Anthony will relax things, and back to Zach McGraw. Portland with the lion's share of possession, but a poor giveaway there. Ima Boateng, the MLS veteran, goes over the back of Ian Smith, and that will, of course, be Portland ball. Ima Boateng is quite the connection to San Diego FC, considering he came through the Right to Dream Academy, which they have an academy in Egypt, in Denmark, in Ghana, the original location of it, and, of course, now San Diego. So him being a graduate of the Right to Dream Academy gives many young players in the San Diego area kind of proof that you can come through this. And we'll talk more about San Diego's unique Right to Dream Academy throughout the broadcast. 11th minute of action as we nearly creep into the 12th. Scoreless between Portland and San Diego. Thanks for joining us on Field 1. No matter how you're watching, whether stream or on your local Fox stations, I'm Adam Sussman, excited to be bringing you the next 80 minutes of action. Alex Maiten, a tricky winger who plied his trade at Nottingham Forest before coming stateside. San Diego signed him a while ago and loaned him to FC Nordsjælland in Denmark. Diop trying to extend the play, but meeting the shin pads of Anthony immediately. Hamady Diop is an interesting left back that their sporting director Tyler Heap says fits perfectly into how they want to play. He was the #1 overall pick in the MLS Super Draft just 2 years ago. Did not play for Charlotte. A few appearances for their MLS Next Pro side before they sent him off to Serbia on loan and left him unprotected in the expansion draft, and San Diego snatched him right up. Anthony marching up the line. Made eye contact with João Ortiz. We'll throw it to Felipe Mora instead. Who had a career year, 14 goals for the Timbers last year. Incredible to see after he had 2 injury-plagued seasons in 22 and 2023. San Diego FC joining MLS adds some sense to the schedule making, really, because last year you played some teams 3 times, some teams twice, others once, and some none at all. Now with 30 teams, of course 15 in each conference, you'll play every team within your conference home and away, and then 6 against the Eastern Conference. A lengthy ball over the top, trying to aim for Claudio Bravo, playing in a more advanced position than he did otherwise in 2024. He led MLS in tackles a few seasons ago. Sun shining and the Timbers are hoping the goals follow. Cross ball over to Kevin Kelsey, who strikes Felipe Mora, and he finishes in the back of the net. The Timbers have their first goal in a week, and Felipe Mora makes no qualms about it. Timbers up 1-0. Take a look at the replay. Felipe Mora confidently takes just 1 touch and into the back of the net, giving Cisniega no chance. Kelsey was there if he wanted to put it on a platter for his fellow strike partner, but he was confident. So now San Diego in this tournament have given up 4 consecutive goals. They're going to have to change that. Their top-end attackers are on the bench. I was given confirmation that Chucky Lozano and Andres Dreer, all the people wearing the azul of San Diego are here to see, will play in the second half of this game. So be sure to stay tuned the entirety of the 90. 15th minute, Timbers lead. Ian Smith, who has been a highlight of preseason for Portland. It's tough to get significant first-team minutes, but he's proving his worth in preseason. Claudio Bravo able to drift past Lofelsen. Kevin Kelsey gets a turn and a bicycle kick, remnant of former Timber Dairon Espria, but it sails high of the bar. Kelsey was the highest scoring teenager in Major League Soccer a year ago with FC Cincinnati. Had a really strong start to the season, something that Portland will hope transfers to 2025. Had 5 goals in his first 11 games, but then a drought occurred after that and kind of lost his starting spot in that Cincinnati 11. San Diego looking to claw back. Falacari will get fouled by Miguel Araujo. They're going to call that a throw-in, There was a whistle, but it will be Timbers' possession. Falacari has no complaint about it. Paredes' flick-on header will not find the goal scorer Felipe Mora. Cisniega, one of 3 keepers battling for the starting spot for San Diego. All 3 don't have significant MLS experience. The man in net today, Pablo Cisniega, who's a Mexican and a U.S. citizen, was the starter for San Antonio in the USL last year. Previous seasons was a backup at LAFC and Charlotte. Ima Boateng gives a difficult ball for Lofelsen, and then will collide with Claudio Bravo, favor San Diego. So as San Diego makes their adventure into Major League Soccer, it's hard not to look back at the Timbers' expansion year back in 2011. There was just 16 teams in MLS at that point. They entered the league with Vancouver, so they made it 18. Portland had 11 wins, 14 losses, and 9 draws in their first season. Diego Chara was their first ever DP signing in April. Eric Bruner led the team in minutes with nearly 3,000. Jack Jewsbury in goal involvements with 13. And Kenny Cooper with 8 goals. Who will be San Diego FC's Kenny Cooper this year? The prime candidate, of course, Chucky Lozano. Zach McGraw providing insurance with the back line that Ima Boateng can't run onto the ball. Luca De La Torre, signed on loan from Celta Vigo, but San Diego do have a buy option. guess you could call it a year-long tryout to see if he'll be staying in his hometown of San Diego or going back to Europe, where he has been playing significant minutes, 28 or more games in his last 4 seasons with Celta Vigo. A through ball dealt with aptly by Zach McGraw yet again. McGraw playing with a newfound dad strength. He recently became a father to a baby boy this summer. He was able to watch his dad play last match. A collision by the far side corner flag will give the ball back to Portland. Anthony has been running up and down that line, has thrown the ball into touch in several different locations on the stripe. Sun's coming out and so are the fans. One game going on behind us, but about 80% of the venue is here to watch the Southern California San Diego FC get a look at what's to come in MLS. Their first game is as good as it gets at LA Galaxy. Their home opener, not that much easier against St. Louis, a team that has restocked the arsenal. Marcel Hartl, a DP who they signed in the summer, is one to keep an eye out for over for St. Louis. They'll be playing in about 45 minutes. We'll break down all the scores and news from the Coachella Valley Invitational during halftime. Anthony loses out to Alejandro Alvarado. Still be Timbers' possession. Alvarado, a versatile tool for San Diego, started at right back last week, but now moves into his favorite center mid spot. Alvarado came through the LA Galaxy Academy before going to play in Portugal back in 2021. He's on a 2-year deal with San Diego with a season of club control after. Saidi, good build-up play against Zach McGraw. Maiten will show off his talents. Valakari takes a turn, will slow things down. Maiten revamps. On the periphery of the final third, Valakari in the box, brings it onto his left foot, and then gets tangled up with Zach McGraw. And the Canadian center back hoofs it away. A pass that Kevin Kelsey bites on. And Paredes gets clipped just above the foot around the ankle area. Should be okay. Christian Paredes, who was 4th on the center mid depth chart last year, played his season low in minutes as a Portland Timber since joining from Club America 4 years earlier, was out of favor in 2024. And you think with the addition of João Ortiz that may be the case again, but he was very strong at the weekend against Chicago, perhaps the best outfield player on the pitch for the Portland Timbers. Me playing an advanced role, more of an 8 than necessarily in the double pivot. Paddy McNair, formerly of Manchester United, most recently with Middlesbrough, where he played 219 games. Quite a different weather from the Midlands to San Diego. Claudio Bravo put his backside into Lofelsen. Didn't seem anything intentional by the Argentine left back, but the yellow card is final, and the referee's whistle does determine. So Bravo goes into the book. The first yellow card of the match, and while preseason stats, of course, don't count, he's got 24 yellows in his experienced career. A set piece that Luca De La Torre will have a thought about. San Diego have an insistence of playing out from the back. We haven't seen it on display too much. Real estate of the sphere has mostly been in the middle third. James Pantemis marshals Claudio Bravo, who's 10 feet away from the ball. 10 yards away. Shot on target, but just that. James Pantemis able to scoop it up. We'll go in the box score. It's a shot on goal over Maiten. Falls in the path of Anthony. trying to bring it onto his right foot, and the volley attempt ricochets off of Alex Maiten, the forward, coming back to defend well. Good pass nonetheless from James Pantemis. A lot of similarities to the #1 Max Crepeau, but one major difference. James Pantemis is a lefty, Crepeau a righty. And talking to Pantemis in preseason, he always likes to put his left boot, left shoe, left anything on first. Quick restart by San Diego as they're looking to get on the scoreboard. Haven't heard much from their forward line of Alex Maiten and Ima Boateng. The striker Anis Saidi hasn't been given the delivery he needs. Valakari will jog it down, putting Ashala in an awkward spot, but there's no pass he can't make. That one he splits between Felipe Mora and Kevin Kelsey. Ian Pilcher took it away, the rookie out of UNC Charlotte. Diop, unloaded in Serbia last year, is enjoying the Southern California sun. De La Torre goes out left to link up play. He'll register the cross. Top of the box, Lofelsen has a nice effort. Not 100% velocity, but close to it. That ball curling away from James Pantemis. Uses his 6'1" frame to perfection. Smith and Bravo link up. Ima Boateng takes it away from the Argentine after a quick first touch. Portland has been dealing with some early season injuries. Juan Mosquera, Santiago Moreno, Jonathan Rodriguez, Finn Sermon, all potential first 11 players that are with the team at the Coachella Valley Invitational, but they are not playing in today's affair. Well, for San Diego, they're dealing with a few injuries here and there. They don't really have a right back, which brought them to side Willie Kamado, a Ghanaian defender who is playing in Denmark, another graduate of the Right to Dream Academy. Played at FC Nordsjælland. Actually played against Evander at FC Midtjylland twice as a young fullback. Only 22 years old, signed on a 2-year deal. Drifting into the 18 is San Diego. Miguel Araujo will have to shield off Valakari and earns a foul. You look at the Timbers' additions in the offseason. They've become a much younger and a much faster team. Ashala will be in charge of pinging balls all about the pitch. Two young, quick talents like Yimmer Forti, Kevin Kelsey, and a reported signing of David Da Costa from RC Lens, who is quick and agile as they come. Bit more on Da Costa, who is with the team in Coachella right now. Of course, not registered to play yet. No word on when he'll be ready, but he is fit and in match shape considering he's coming from the French League, who is firmly within their season at current. In the past couple of years, he helped RC Lens qualify for the Champions League in France as a regular starter at just 22 years old. Feeding Kevin Kelsey, and will be caught offside for the third time within 26 minutes. Just to stride off. Timbers GM Ned Grabavoy hasn't had quite the lion's share of work that Tyler Heaps, the sporting director of San Diego, has over the last year and a half, building a roster from scratch from over a dozen different countries. He's had the Right to Dream Academy in his back pocket as kind of a scouting network. But Ned Grabavoy has had to turn over the core of the Portland Timbers from 2-3 years ago. You think about major names like Sebastian Blanco, Diego Valeri, Larry's Mabiala, Jimmy Chara. Key players that are the Portland Timbers. He's had to turn over this roster and make it younger. And you look at some of the bodies out on the pitch today and you see it on full display. Claudio Bravo, a toss into one of the more experienced players in Felipe Mora. He's got the lone strike so far. Ashala directs towards Zach McGraw, and we'll get it back. Quarterbacking play, tiptoes over the halfway line. Ian Smith curls it over the top. Good ball to Felipe Mora. Neon flag on the far side, lifts towards the Indio, California sky again. Only thing that's been stopping the Timbers on the break is the offside flag. You rewind to Portland's first season in 2011. They had the two players that now lead MLS in active starts. Diego Chara with 399, and his young teammate at just 20 years old, Darlington Nagbe, who has won 3 MLS Cups in 3 different locations, including with Portland in 2015. So Portland, when they were birthed as an MLS club, of course, 2025 is their 50th year, dating back to 1975, and they released a kit honoring their history and tradition today. A lovely kit with 50 tree rings on it, of course representative of the beautiful state of Oregon and the history of the Portland Timbers. For San Diego, this is year 1. Trying to get on the scoreboard. Here's Alex Maiten. Miguel Araujo shields it aside with his shin pad, receiving applause from both set of fans. Former Colorado man, Lawful Sense, sees the ball bounce once in front of Maiten, and then Pantemis will power walk to get the ball. San Diego's trying to answer as many questions as possible in preseason before meeting with the LA Galaxy for the final game of the opening weekend in Major League Soccer. That game will be just moments after the Timbers finalize their match with Vancouver at 1 o'clock Pacific time. San Diego will face the LA Galaxy at 4 on Sunday. Big difference in Major League Soccer this year. Games are much more spread out across the league. So if you're a fan of just watching MLS in general, you can watch a lot more games than just your own. A smidge short for Bravo. Ima Boateng can't connect with Luca De La Torre. João Ortiz tries to send Kevin Kelsey on his way, but Ian Pilcher intercepts. Anis Saidi, the 16-year-old, over to Lawful Sense. Ima Boateng's going to get on the end of it. Boateng met by 2 green jerseys quickly, and they deal with the danger. Timbers playing out from the back. Paredes puts Miguel Araujo in some danger and quickly extinguishes it. Still not a dangerous way yet. And Valakari, last touch off of a white kit, will give Portland some breathing room. Yesterday, the Portland Timbers reportedly sold their star man Evander from a season ago for $12 million to FC Cincinnati. If that report is true, via Tom Bogart of Give Me Sport, it would be by far the record sale of the club. 8 times their previous record, which was Jeremy Abobasi to San Jose. In replacements, they have reportedly brought in David DaCosta from RC Lens, who I've touched on the broadcast. We have seen him in Timber threads, though it's not an official signing at Coachella. Excited to see how he can fill the shoes as a number 10. Definitely a different type of player than Evander, but plenty exciting, and 2 years his younger, still 3-4 years away from his prime, and a regular for one of the best teams in France. Felipe Mora and Diop get into a tangle. First and foremost in preseason, you want everybody to make it out healthy. For Portland, we touched on previous injuries and not quite as deep as they would like in some of the preseason affairs. We'll talk to Phil Neville after the match and get some of his thoughts on how this match played out and get an injury update from the second-year Timbers head coach. Mikey Veras and Phil Neville shared pleasantries before the match. Veras has been in MLS before. He was with the Sacramento Republic in the USL as an assistant, and he came over to FC Dallas for his skills that he displayed on the West Coast in the academy level, then came to do the same gig with Dallas. Their academy is well known for players like Weston McKennie, of course Ricardo Pepi, a regular starter for the U.S. men's national team, Gianluca Busio over in Italy as well. Mikey Veras played a big role in grabbing all of those players. Then he was with the U.S. youth national team, U.S. men's national team, interim coach of the national team, and now San Diego FC. Quite the journey for the 44-year-old head coach. He unfortunately has to wear the title of just the second ever loss to Canada on home soil when he was interim coach of the U.S. men's national team, a match in which Timbers keeper Max Crepeau started in net, holding his U.S. side to just a goal. Mikey Veras' other game in charge with the U.S. men's national team, he also played a Portland Timber when New Zealand international Finn Sermon played the U.S. national team to a 1-1 draw. Alex Maiten will give the honors to Diop on the throw-in. Maiten Wally's a Nottingham Forest product and came through their academy. He was actually born in the U.S. in Hartford, Connecticut, but he considers himself more English, having represented the English youth national team at 5 different levels. As you can see on the far right of your screen, you see some young Timber players gearing up to possibly see minutes in the second 45. Though first it will be a San Diego set piece with 12 minutes and change remaining in half number 1. This, the exact location in which they scored against NYCFC. Tall bodies to defend the set piece. But one of the shorter ones, Felipe Mora, will stop it before it even enters the gates of the 6-yard box. Cisniaga hasn't had a busy workload since conceding to Mora. Valakari. Boateng, his touch pops up and Zach McGraw swats it with his noggin. Diop clipped back to Valakari. Maiten, this is better from San Diego. Valakari in the box, Zach McGraw there to interrupt over James Pantemis, and Ima Boateng cuts it short. Kevin Kelsey tangled up. Timbers wanted a call a few seconds earlier, but the other striker, Kelsey, will earn that nod. When Kevin Kelsey arrived officially about 3 weeks ago, he became the 3rd most expensive signing in Portland Timbers history for a reported $6 million fee from Shakhtar Donetsk. Anthony tries to send Kevin Kelsey first time. Cisniaga, a dangerous pass. Could have taken a touch. João Ortiz to Anthony, gets there first, has the square option, and nearly an own goal by SDFC. And that ball did sneak over the line. It will be a a goal kick for San Diego. I initially called a near own goal, but let's take a look at it on the replay. Anthony extends his stride to get there first, aiming for Felipe Mora, and sneaks wide of the post amongst a chaotic crowd within the 18. Cisniaga playing with fire, and Christian Paredes will be an extinguisher for it. We get an auxiliary goal kick a few yards up from the 6-yard box. Timbers not looking to ease the pressure. It's a front trident on the press of the 2 strikers, Mora, Kelsey, and then Christian Paredes playing more of that number 10 role, more advanced than Ashala and João Ortiz. Anis Saidi gives it up to Bravo. Can't connect with Mora, and Saidi looks to make up for his misdoing. Christopher McVeigh. McVeigh, traditionally a center back, formerly of DC United and Philadelphia. He did check in a few moments ago. He did not start this game. Looks like he's replacing Lofelsend, the right back that went off injured. So keep an eye on Christopher McVeigh, physical, fast, and tall center back. Actually played with Portland Timber Kamal Miller at Miami for a season, but he's with DC United a year ago. Ball sneaks past a crowd of white jerseys. Kevin Kelsey is not going to be able to reach Anthony, and Diop, the man to take it away. Anthony showing off his defensive chops. Araujo will cut off the angle, tries a cheeky chip past Diop and then into the California sky. Bounces once in front of Pilcher, and McVeigh has to keep his head up as Claudio Bravo is draped all over him, giving up about 5 inches or so in that exchange. Cisniaga telling Pilcher to go a specific direction, though he'll go opposite of that with McNair. Alvarado in midfield, playing the number 6 role that will be reserved in the regular season, barring injury, to Ipe Tverskov, one of their 3 big-name signings this offseason. He'll be the marshal in the defensive third, while Andres Dreer and Chucky Lozano will take charge in the attacking third. He was signed from FC Nordsjælland, where he had about the best influence as a central defensive midfielder as you can get. Michael Essien, the former Chelsea legend, was an assistant coach there. And Verskov signed a 2-year contract with a club option for a third. So he'll be a familiar face to those in San Diego. Ball trickles over the end line, offering San Diego another corner, something they haven't been able to create much off of. Portland struggled off defending set pieces last year. Them and the LA Galaxy were the 2 worst in the Western Conference. With more height this offseason, they're trying to keep it in 2024 and improve in 2025. San Diego sprinting back as Portland was flirting with playing long. Had to cross the mind of Claudio Bravo. Araujo to McGraw. Portland looking for continuity at center back this year. When 1/3 of MLS has a new head coach, it will be important to have stability. Anthony and a party of San Diego players. Ima Boateng, he intercepted it from his own teammate Valakari. The MLS veteran has played with 5 different units, most well known for his time with the LA Galaxy. He also worked under current Timbers assistant coach Dave Vandenberg when he was a winger with New England. 17 goals and 26 assists in his MLS career, Boateng has. Alvarado does a good job to spray it out wide. Anis Saidi won't be able to make a play on the ball. João Ortiz, with his back to 2 defenders, will put some loft under it. Miguel Araujo does a good job to evade Luca De La Torre. Christian Paredes, now pressured by Alvarado, who's at last off of Timbers' possession. Though San Diego try to do the old trick in the NFL where you get the playoff before the replay comes in. Referee's word is final throw-in for the Timbers. Claudio Bravo signals for it on the near side. He'll receive. Taking on Christopher McVeigh. João Ortiz, first we've seen him in an advanced spot today. Bravo takes a strong bump. Both end up on the ground. It'll be a throw-in for Portland. Claudio Bravo in his Timbers career, 100 games, starting 95 of them. He's going to year 5 at Providence Park. Timbers open the season. In fact, their first 2 games of the season are at home. João Ortiz, frustrated by the call, will be one of 5 new players to debut at Providence Park if he sees action against Vancouver, a team that ended Portland's season a year ago, a 5-0 defeat at Providence Park in the wildcard match. Successful year 1 for Phil Neville to make the postseason, but he in his own words said they did not make the playoffs, considering they didn't get into the first round. But it was certainly an identity formed by the Portland Timbers of a very strong attacking team. 65 goals for a season ago, was 4th in Major League Soccer. James Pantemis gives it away to Anis Saidi. De La Torre. Trying to put the Timbers backline under duress. McVeigh. De La Torre. Alvarado. Boateng. Play a quick 1-2. Alvarado keeps down the edge of the box. Valakari winds up with his left and not so far off. Inches away from leveling before the halftime break in the 43rd. San Diego looking to take back momentum. Zach McGraw plays back to his keeper. Saidi walks into the box and now will sprint. Looks like it put off James Pantemis, just wasn't on the same wavelength as his striker Felipe Mora. And even if they were, that's a very tough ball. Here's De La Torre. He's earned himself 24 caps for the national team. Has a goal. Made the World Cup roster in 2022, though wasn't quite used by Greg Berhalter. Preferred the likes of McKennie and Yunus Musa in those number 8, number 10 spots. Through ball, not able to reach Valakari, who is on loan from Cypriot side Paphos, where he has been since 2020. San Diego have a $1.5 million buy option on him. Valakari's been playing well at club level, so much so he's back with the Finland national team after a 2-year absence, making his first return cap in November. McGraw shows calmness on the ball. Timbers looking to keep their 1-0 scoreline with little time remaining in half number 1. Penultimate game at the Coachella Valley Invitational on day 4, Portland and San Diego. The first ever meeting between these two. Alvarado scans the pitch. They'll go with the easiest option to his defense. Diop, the first ever Senegalese player to be taken number 1 in an MLS draft. Though he didn't make his name for the team that drafted him in Charlotte, he's looking to do it on the West Coast with San Diego. A great ball playing left back who has a lot of physicality to his game as well. Valakari tries to split the difference between Araujo and Paredes, and will earn himself and his side a free kick. Could just about be the last attacking action of half number 1. Coming up at halftime, we'll bring you the schedule and the scores from the Coachella Valley Invitational, and also what's next for Portland and San Diego in the second 45, and we'll bring you the highlight of the Felipe Mora goal and other chances through the first 45. Timbers holding still, 18 yards from James Pantemis. Using the chalk at their feet as reference. De La Torre has been responsible for all the set pieces from distance thus far, though some others have had chances off of a corner. Alvarado off the quick pass, feeds it towards the back post. Claudio Bravo plays bouncer and shields off the incoming Ian Pilcher. Bravo's done a good job defensively today. And before James Pantemis can kick it away, the halftime whistle hollers. Portland 1, San Diego 0. A second great 45 to come, and I'm sure we'll see some pretty famous places on both sides. Stick with us. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the halftime show at the Coachella Valley Invitational. Portland Timbers won courtesy of a strike early on by Felipe Mora. Absolutely pierced the back of the net. San Diego FC had a few chances, their best from just within the 18. Oni Valakari, the son of a former MLS player, his dad Simo, and he looked like it with the left-footed shot just a few inches wide of the post. We're going to show you highlights and the schedule, plus more from the Coachella Valley Invitational. We'll be back in a moment. Another action-packed day at the Coachella Valley Invitational. Just one more action-packed weekend on the MLS side of things. There'll be NWSL after that, but let's run through today's set of action. Chicago Fire get their first win of the Greg Berhalter era in preseason, taking down San Jose 5-1. The LA Galaxy, who had a huge fandom here at Field 1 in Indio, California, took down Minnesota by a scoreline of 2-1. They're up 2-0 in that game. RSL and the New York Red Bulls just finished up a thriller, 3-3. Our game through 45 right now. Portland Timbers are up 1-0 on San Diego, and one game still left to come that will be starting in about 5 minutes is St. Louis and NYCFC. So if you're watching this one and want more action after it, be sure to tune in on field number 2. We'll be back in a moment for the second half. Adam Sussman back with you in Indio, California for the Coachella Valley Invitational. It was an entertaining first half between Portland and San Diego FC. Let's take a look at how it went down. Here's the goal, Felipe Mora moving so fast the camera can barely keep up. That's his first goal of preseason, a great strike. Here's Claudio Bravo drifting past Wolfelsen, tries to reach it towards the back post with Kevin Kelsey, who goes for the acrobatic effort. Not the first time in preseason he's tried that effort. A good set-piece opportunity by San Diego FC. That was their first shot on goal, though probably not their best chance as James Pantemis punts it away. Here's another look at San Diego on the break. Luca De La Torre plays in a good ball. Wolfelsen, top of the box, and he had a good slice on it, but James Pantemis is able to collect. Maiten, a through ball over to Valakari, and Ima Boateng, if he was in a better position, could have had an open net. João Ortiz, the Timbers have had excess going over the top. That was a good ball over to Anthony, squares it to Felipe Mora, but not able to reach it in time. Here's the through ball to Ima Boateng, Alvarado, and another shot on target. And we'll be back in just a moment with the second half of action. Back for the second 45 between the Portland Timbers wearing their all greens, attacking from left to right. This is last year's kit. If you want to take a look at the new one, be sure to visit timbers.com or see them on social media. While San Diego wearing a training top, they do have a beautiful Azul jersey, which they will be on full display when they host St. Louis at home on March 1st. A handful of changes for both sides, including the man on the ball right now, the former Inter Miami left back, Franco Negri, had the tough role of being the backup to Jordi Alba over in southern Florida. For the Portland Timbers, a few bodies in. Eric Miller will come in at right wing back, I should say, in favor of Anthony. San Diego playing out from the back. Diop, who was starting at left back, will drift inside to center back. Maiten gets tangled up with Araujo, and the new player into the game, Eric Miller, wins the ball back. Also, two other new faces in for the Timbers. A signing from the Chicago Fire, Ari Laster, who joined the Portland Timbers back around Christmas time. He was their first signing of the offseason. And number 28, Tommy McNamara, who has been with the Portland Timbers on a trial basis. Tomas Angel, the Colombian, whose dad played in MLS, Juan Pablo Angel, for a handful of teams, actually played against Diego Chara back in 2011. So Chara, if he plays against San Diego, one of the two meetings will play against father and son in MLS. Ima Boateng shoulders it across to Angel, trying to drift through Zach McCraw. He's through on net and can't slot it in the side netting. Golden chance for San Diego 90 seconds in, but Portland just holds on to their lead. Portland handed a lifeline after the poor finishing from Ima Boateng. He's more apt as a winger than necessarily a front man, and he got into a front man position. San Diego's number 9, Tomas Angel. He was acquired via trade from LAFC in December. He spent last year on loan at Phoenix Rising. We played 15 games, scoring just 3 goals. Both the keepers remain stagnant from the first half. Bravo loses out on the far side. So it'll be a front line of Ari Lassiter taking Felipe Mora, spotting Kevin Kelsey will be the lone front man. Ian Smith has done a good job on the left side of center back. Not his usual role where he started every game for University of Denver in 3 years. Also made a college cup while he was there. McNamara, formerly of New England, New York. He was the starting center mid for New England when they won the Supporters' Shield in 2021. Timbers assistant coach Dave Vandenberg was his assistant coach with Bruce Arena. Diop calmly plays it over his right shoulder. McVeigh won't be able to take Lassiter for speed, so goes back to the back line. Negri. Valakari tripped up for a moment. He'll find open real estate. Entering the final third, Valakari. McVeigh on the overlap. Too heavy of a touch, takes it away from net. And San Diego's attack done for. Negri trying to reload the cannons, goes over the top to Angel, goes off his stud. Zach McGraw not quite sure of the real estate at current. De La Torre reaches towards the back post and confidently sent to the halfway line by Claudio Bravo. A strong first 3.5 minutes by the expansion side, San Diego. Using some of the recent expansion sides in MLS as precedent, what can San Diego expect? There's been some great expansion teams and some not so hot. Think about Cincinnati in 2019. They went 6-22-6 in year 1. Here's Luca De La Torre, square ball towards the PK spot. Ian Smith hits it off his own defender. No whistle blows. Araujo was holding his shoulder for a moment. San Diego FC not complaining about it, so referee likely had a good view on the ball. Back to the expansion talk. Atlanta, 2017, had a great record, 15-9-10. A year later, they won MLS Cup at home over the Portland Timbers. Ima Boateng in a foot race with Zach McGraw, and he'll just shove him aside for a Timbers goal kick. And for San Diego, with their kind of poster DP signing of Chucky Lozano, their first ever DP signing, they're hoping he can do to San Diego what Carlos Vela did to LAFC when they were an expansion team back in 2018. Year 1 was good for LAFC, 16-9-9. San Diego will happily take that in year 1. And Tyler Heaps, their sporting director, is expecting that, saying as much that the conditions are set to be successful and that they should be in the playoffs. Carlos Vela the next year for LAFC, by the way, an MLS record, 34 goals and 15 assists in a year. Lozano hoping for that sort of production, and we're hoping to see the Mexican borderline legend at this point, though just 29 years old, get into the game for the second 45. Through to Kevin Kelsey, one of his better touches of the day, but caught offside for the 4th time. Something that's identifiable and the Timbers will want to work on with Kelsey. Just been caught offside a few too many times. San Diego doing a good job defensively to catch him there. Negri, who was with Miami last year, won the Supporters' Shield, though upset in the first round. He joined San Diego courtesy of the re-entry draft. San Diego using the MLS Super Draft, the expansion draft, the re-entry draft, of course, DP signings from Broad and the Right to Dream Academy to build this talented roster that's looking to compete in year 1. De La Torre, another big signing on loan from Celta Vigo. Alvarado will extend it further up. San Diego looking to keep the good times rolling and level the game, but Claudio Bravo can't quite reach Kevin Kelsey. Alvarado. And a jog shoulder to shoulder with Ari Lassiter, an MLS veteran who offers this Timbers team a lot of speed coming off the bench. Could be thrust into a starter role depending on the status of Jonathan Rodriguez at left wing. Ashala able to squeal out of a tricky situation. McNamara, great passer of the ball on display. Eric Miller. Miller's going into his 12th MLS season, and in his 11th a year ago, finally scored his first goal, an equalizer, dramatic one at that, against Sporting Kansas City when they were down 2-0, and Miller scored the second. He said he got more texts about scoring his first MLS goal than he did about his first child being born. Paredes over to McNamara on his left foot, tries the volley. On the second opportunity, nearly squeaks in the near post. Not enough pace behind the ball, and Cisniega gets there. Eric Miller, a first-round draft pick out of Creighton back in 2014. He's racked up 204 MLS games. He has been, when he joined Portland before the 2023 season, there'd just be some, good backup here and there, but he's been thrust into a starting role on a few occasions, a left back, right back, and even center back. And now he's playing right wing back. Falls to the studs of Alakari, Ima Boateng. Ian Smith just uses his 5'6" frame to get there. 5'9", as the wind picks up at Coachella. These grounds will, of course, host some of the biggest artists in the world in a month's time. Right now, some of the biggest stars in North American soccer. Just today, we saw Marco Royce in the LA Galaxy play. And for Portland, plenty of recognizable names. Though Diego Chara not in action today for Portland. A sprinting Eric Miller is not going to get there. Cisniega hops outside of his 18 and booted away. Araujo feeds it to Pantemis, who's able to scoop it up if he wants because it was a back header, and he'll do exactly such. Paredes, who's gone further back in midfield. Maiten tries the clip, but Pantemis was still within the 6. Just one body warming up right now for either side that my view can catch. Looks like Dario Zuparic, a center back, and also Kamal Miller goes in to warm up. Ashala extends to Bravo. 2 on the overlap will go to the front man, Ari Lassiter. The Costa Rican international over to Kevin Kelsey, falls to Eric Miller. Good contact, perhaps too strong. He's only scored 1 MLS goal in his 204 games. Hasn't been put in that position too many times, but good chance for Portland, their best of the second half, 10 minutes in. Ari Lassiter creating that opportunity on the square ball. Kevin Kelsey then back heeling it towards the direction of Eric Miller. Lassiter was traded last year between Montreal and Chicago. Funnily enough, he was actually traded for his current teammate Kamal Miller between Montreal and Miami back in 2023. Lassiter's a great MLS veteran presence to have around. 12 goals and 15 assists on his 6th MLS team now in Portland. Maiten. Back to Negri. Ari Lassiter said he talked to former Timber and Costa Rican international teammate Rodney Wallace when he reached an agreement with Portland. A fan favorite of Timbers teams of past, Rodney Wallace. Negri sticks out a stud, and a great sliding effort by Alvarado in midfield. Valakari to De La Torre. Good ball within the box. Ian Smith shows his pace. Not sure who got the last touch to it. Importantly, though, for Portland, it's on the right side of the post. Wrong for San Diego. See a few San Diego players in the middle of your screen in those yellow pennies warming up. The man closest to the corner flag right now looks to be Chucky Lozano, the Mexican international. What an effort, and blocked by Zach McGraw. This ball still in play, and then popped up like a salmon is James Pantemis. Does a good job. McGraw, McNamara, Araujo goes back that direction. Over the top, but Eric Miller's not running. One of the beauties of being at Coachella is you can hear the players interact with each other in the communication between Eric Miller and McNamara. These two have actually played together once before when they were both at NYCFC. It was a short stint for Eric Miller. He's pretty close with San Diego player Anibal Godoy. Those two shared a few successful seasons, especially defensively at Nashville. Their only plague is that when Eric Miller and Anibal Godoy were both with Nashville, they just draw way too many games. An MLS record, 18 draws. Over the top for Claudio Bravo, Cisniaga karate kicks it far and away. They'll jog back into his 18. Kevin Kelsey, well onside this time, of course. A through ball to Ari Lassiter, and he's off. Nonetheless, the save by Cisniaga. Lassiter jogs back into position. If the Timbers do elect to go with a 3-back, which Neville says he's skeptical of doing, they do prefer that 4-2-3-1, which if you're a Timber fan, you saw on display last year. But if they do play that 3-back, Ari Lassiter is an option to play left wing back along with a few others, including new signing Yimmer Forty, who started last game against Chicago. Ashala not able to track that down. That's why I play soccer and not outfield in the MLB. Given away to Angel, to Ima Boateng, too high for him. It's about waist height, not sure if he should chest it down or use his studs. Claudio Bravo unglues the ball over to Ian Smith. Arrows it quickly to Paredes, dealing with Angel, and gets relief from the official. An hour in, this is usually around the period where subs start to be flirted with. Araujo errors towards Nat McNamara, hits off the studs of Eric Miller. Issue for Portland is just being caught offside too many times. Alvarado, I've been impressed with him as a number 6. Opened the broadcast with saying San Diego kind of has to figure out who the third midfielder is going to be. You know it's going to be Luca De La Torre. You know it's going to be Verskov. Alvarado putting on a great addition for it to be him. You also see Anibal Godoy with some MLS experience and leadership there as well. My 10. 10 goes with Araujo. McNamara out to defend. San Diego on the periphery. Can they burst open the envelope? De La Torre finds himself in a pickle. Goes out to his left with Negri. He's got fresh legs, came in just 15 minutes ago. And the ball over the top will do the Timbers some favors and allow them to make some substitutes. Here come the subs. On the far right, Dave Vandenberg, the assistant coach, signaling who's coming off. On the left, that's head coach Mikey Veras, giving some instruction to Ipe Tverskov. So out goes a lot of the back line. 2 center backs will make way. So Ian Smith goes out. Zach McGraw comes out in favor of Kamal Miller and Dario Zubric, a duo that started last game. Kamal Miller, Canadian international with 47 caps. Dario Zubric led the back line in minutes last year. And that roar of applause you hear come through my headset is for Chucky Lozano. Lozano, an absolute legend abroad, comes back to North America to be the poster child for San Diego FC. 4 major trophies and 67 goals in 7 years abroad. Had the game-winning goal against reigning champs Germany in the 2018 World Cup in front of 80,000. He's used to the pressure, and he'll have some in his first year in MLS. Expected to produce right away. The other man coming in nearly as important, but more so in the midfield, Tverskov. My 10, a sliding effort, gets Yimmer Forey off balance. Here's Lozano's first touch of the ball. Lozano strikes and Max Crepeau denies. The two that often meet in the Gold Cup and the CONCACAF competitions. The Canadian bests the Mexican. Lozano went to Europe when he was 21 years old from Pachuca for $12.5 million, scored 34 goals, 16 assists in his first stint with PSV. Then moved to Napoli for $45 million, where he helped win their first Serie A in 30-plus years. He was ultimately replaced by Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, the Georgian international left wing, making this even an opportunity for him to come back. San Diego purchased him. He went on loan to PSV, but now he's finally in the white and azul of San Diego FC. And San Diego have an advantage over any other MLS team. They're actually the only academy within MLS that is allowed to recruit from Mexico because it's within their recruiting radius, right by the southern border. The Right to Dream Academy as a whole, of course, they have sister academies all over the world that they can recruit from. Tomas Angel, Luca Della Torre, working on McNamara, and Ashala takes a bump. He'll get on the edge of the ball. At times last year, Phil Neville called David Ashala one of the best midfielders in MLS, and Kevin Kelsey offside. I mentioned how San Diego's the only MLS academy that can recruit from Mexico. They have some other oddities, or I should say advantages. The first MLS academy to offer a full-time residency, school, and training. The only MLS academy of the 30 to do that. They also lock kids in, not in a literal sense, when they're 12 or 13 for a 5-year stretch. So they're not recycling in and out players every year like other academies do. They have a setup in Ghana, Egypt, Denmark, and now San Diego, and they'll shuffle talented academy kids around. Della Torre, this is one of the stronger 11s that San Diego have put out through their preseason matches. Verskov nearly collides with Kevin Kelsey. Della Torre, Dario Zubric, low and sturdy to meet him. What does Lozano have to say? Verskov. Angel, not much movement. Stagnation in the attacking third. The Timbers defending low. Also into the game, 18-year-old Adolfo Enriquez, who made his debut last July in a 4-1 victory over Nashville. He's been a standout for Timbers too, looking to become a significant homegrown product for the Timbers in 2025. Valakari. Negri, squared to Verskov. This time they'll push the envelope. Lozano, onside, opens up the boot and right off the forehead of Dario Zubric. Kelsey does a good job in build-up to earn the set piece and the relief from the oncoming San Diego attackers. Yimmer 40, 6'2" left wing back, coming over from Independiente in Colombia, the same club in which the Timbers brought their other fullback from on the opposite side, Juan Mosquera. They're each 22 years old. Should be fun to see what Fori has in store in 2025, but of course, one for the future. Cisniega. Verskov scans. They'll have the time to do so. Diop. Intercepted by Adolfo Enriquez, but his first time pass is the same result, just going the other way. Lozano on Zubric, brings it on to his right foot, towards the PK spot, and Kamal Miller stands tall. Ima Boateng, the intended target, but he takes a tumble. Cisniega. Della Torre. Negri stands still. D-up finds Pilcher. And the recent college draft pick stands strong. Lozano waving no, no, no to the flag. Of course, no VAR in this tournament. Something that San Diego maybe would have wanted in their first game. They actually leveled it at 2-2. Anibal Godoy with a great strike from just within the 18. But they called it back. So the goalkeeper for NYCFC, Matt Freeze at the time, was interfered with. And they kept that game at 2-1. Maybe 2 minutes later, it was 3-1 for NYCFC on an absolute screamer from Alonso Martinez, their leading goal scorer from a year ago. Another Costa Rican international who has played with Ari Lassiter of the Timbers. Anibal Godoy was frustrated, went up to the referee, gave him an earful. He was wearing the captain's armband at the time. And Godoy is 3 caps away from becoming the all-time record holder in caps for Panama. Cisniega made awkward by Ari Lassiter. Timbers have all 11 in the attacking half, a rarity so far today. Yimmer Furi. Zigs and zags past Ima Boateng, and then Kamal Miller finding himself in an advanced space. Araujo. I think the Timbers center backs have essentially the whole room above average passers in a lot of MLS. Here's Kevin Kelsey showing off some of his stuff. He'll present it to Yimmer Furi and a cross inside to McNamara. And an offside call to the frustration of many. '69th minute, the 1 goal coming about 10 minutes into the affair of Felipe Mora. He has since subbed off. Phil Neville doesn't need much to know about his qualities. 14 goals last year, a trio of teammates for the Portland Timbers. Between Evander, Jonathan Rodriguez, and Felipe Mora, all 14 plus. Gonna be just the 3rd team in MLS history to do that. Varacali winds up to Negri. Angel takes a scan and Yimmer Furi tracks back smartly. A slight mist in the sky here at Indio. Nothing the Timbers won't be used to. A rollout finds the studs of Chucky Lozano first. Dario Zuparic able to be insurance. And even better coverage there by Araujo. Ari Lassiter. He'll start the engine. Has it on idle right now. A few step overs waiting for McNamara. Squares it to Araujo. McNamara cross towards the back post. My 10 can't get there. Kevin Kelsey can. But they're too late. Portland undefeated in this tournament so far. A draw against Chicago a few days ago. And the first match a week past was a 2-1 victory over Bruce Arena San Jose side, who is 0-3 at the tournament so far. Ashala goes off, makes way for Malcolm Johnston, I believe, a T2 player who was dealing with injury a season ago. He's the brother of Canadian international Alistair Johnson, who's a regular starter at right back for the national team. Often plays with Kamal Miller. Johnston was an unlikely source of goals in their first game, getting the game winner in the 2-1 victory over San Jose. Also into the game, pay attention to Andres Dreyer, a DP signing on a 3-year contract from Anderlecht in Belgium. In his 87 games in Belgium, 31 goals, 23 assists. He has a wicked left foot and will use that cannon from distance. Aiming for another new sub into the game, Gage Guerra. The Timbers have had his rights for a while, but he's finally wearing the threads after finishing up college. Yimmer Furi lets it bounce, perhaps unintentionally, try to get his studs on top of the ball. Bombarded in his own corner is Verskov. Also a few more big names on the pitch for San Diego. It looks like Anibal Godoy. We've talked about him throughout the broadcast in his career, 494 games. One of the few that is able to hold a candle to Diego Chara in terms of longevity. He's been in the MLS since 2015. 101 games for San Jose, 111 for Nashville. And will register his first soon for San Diego in a week and a half. Negri back to Diop. Will overlook the midfield and send Chucky Lozano on his way. He's fast enough to get there. Dario Zubric has to sprint back. Lozano inside the 18. Here he goes, going vertically. Lozano off the post. A sign of things to come for the Mexican star. Verskov trying to use the roar of the crowd to their advantage. Lozano making the run, defending by Adolfo Enriquez. Dreyer to the PK spot, blocked by Kamal Miller. There's Marcus Vartson on the attempt, another Scandinavian. A proven left-footed striker who scored goals at every stop he's been at. Nordsjælland, Gent in Belgium, Union Berlin, and Mainz. Through his career, 73 goals and 18 assists. Here he is again. Lozano, met by a wall named Dario Zubric inside the PK arc. Are they going to call a foul is the question. We'll have a cordial meeting as Chucky Lozano is down. Dario Zubric takes kindly to nobody. It will not be a foul, but though San Diego possession, on the far side. Pleading his case is Lozano. But the Serie A, the Dutch League champion, won't get the call. And boy, did he relish taking that opportunity if he got it. Anders Dreyer will take it. Averaging a goal involvement every other game throughout his career. Won the Danish League with Evander back in 2020 with FC Midtjylland. Towards the near post, flicked on. McGraw's on his backside, as well as Crépeau. Just Crépeau. McGraw checked out about 10 minutes ago. But Crépeau, it took a deflection, wasn't able to read it quite properly. And amongst the chaos, Portland come out unscathed. Still 1-0 up in the 75th. San Diego upping the pressure. Their 4-3-3 formation structured right now. Verskov, the number 6. Anders Dreyer, who's usually a winger, is going to be playing as a shuttling number 8, or maybe more of a number 10. And Anibal Godoy will be on the right of midfield. The front line for San Diego, Chucky Lozano out left. Tomas Angel through the middle, the former LAFC man. And out right, Marcus Vartson. Pilcher, who is one of the few San Diego players to go the full 90, as well as Diop. Dreyer will go Diop's direction. San Diego north to south, back inside their own 18 willingly. Portland trying to keep him there. Gage Guerra, as well as Malcolm Johnston chasing him down. Johnston does well. Two-time first-team All-Big Ten selection while with with Maryland. He comes via Ontario. He's with the Whitecaps FC organization before joining Portland. He's also a very talented hockey player, but he chose to go the soccer route like his brother. Eric Miller, close towards Gage Guerra. San Diego were perhaps too patient in the box. Ari Laster almost pounced on the opportunity. Time to play with some urgency if you're SDFC. Don't want to start preseason 0-2 at Coachella. Zubric will get a yellow card this time around, and Chucky Lozano frustrated with it. They don't quite share the same tongue. Lozano does speak a bit of English. Zubric are Croatian. Eric Miller having a talk with Zubric. He'll go and help defend Chucky Lozano. Lozano's frustrations were in Zubrich's tackle, of course. He'll earn a yellow card for that. Anibal Godoy goes long. Good job by Eric Miller. Adolfo Enriquez, the youngest Timber on the pitch, shows his skill and his class. Look at the depth chart right now. There's an opening at midfield, the 5th spot. Timbers are back in the Open Cup competition for the first time since 2023. They'll also be playing in Leagues Cup, and unlike in previous years with this new tournament in North America between Liga MX and MLS, it will be going on as MLS play continues in the month of August. So depth will be important, and young players like Adolfo Enriquez will be given a chance. Pilcher, 24th overall pick in the most recent draft, won 2 American Athletic Conference championships with the UNC Charlotte. Now this, quite the step up from the AAC. Here's Pilcher again. Negri takes Eric Miller for a ride. McNamara gets it taken off by Chucky Lozano. We'll recycle the whole mess back to the keeper, Cisniega. Verskov and Diop. Godoy gets it rid before Guerra can frustrate him. Diop takes a spill, but he still registers the pass to Lozano. Beautiful back heel by Dreyer. Dreyer again on his favored left foot, and not a favored connection. Anders Dreyer, their DP winger and number 10, will want that one back. In their match a few days ago on Saturday, he was through on nets in a similar position, though he had the sphere on the ground and just whipped it wide with his left foot that time. Still looking for his first goal in San Diego colors. He'll be saving the efforts for MLS play. Dreyer has also played in Denmark, Russia, Belgium. I talked about how prolific he is. Didn't show it there. Ymer Furi uses his physicality and frame well, though the header that goes into the center circle doesn't end up with a Portland Timber kit. Portland went 12, 11, and 11 last year. And if they avoid a slow start, they would have been a much higher seed, but they had to settle for the 9 and the wild card. They're hoping continuity and the same head coach propels them to a fast start. For San Diego, it's all up in the air. It's all unknown, and that's the hope and the scary part of it. Zubrich plays it back to Max Crepeau. Goes good built-up play for a moment, but sending Angel and Chucky Lozano in a foot race when Zubrich had a lengthy head start was always going to be a problem. Just 10 minutes left in the affair. Does Ari Lassiter double the lead? Here he goes into the 18. Gage Guerra! A formality to put it in. The Timbers are up 2. Gage Guerra, drafted out of Louisville last year, 69th overall, went back to earn his degree, and now he's getting his master's in Portland Timbers soccer at Coachella Valley. Could be a key player for Timbers too, but if you put some more in the back of the net like that, Phil Neville might take notice. Ari Lassiter with the assist, a beautiful left-footed cross low on the deck to Guerra, and he makes it 2-0 Portland. A hush over the San Diego supporters who felt like they had some momentum in this second half. SDFC has been playing well. They're taking the slow walk on your screen. Pablo Cisniega not able to keep that out even at full stretch. Diop was beat on that run. Negri, left back who was a pro in his home country of Argentina for 8 years before coming over to MLS. Another one who also played with Kamal Miller. Won Leagues Cup with Miller, and then the Supporters Shield without him last year. Lassiter. Guerra. Back to Kamal Miller. Squeaks past Gage Guerra. And Diop restarts things. Anibal Godoy. Looking at the rest of the Timbers' schedule before we get going in Major League Soccer. We'll play Charlotte at 10 a.m. on Saturday, visiting many of their old players. Bill Tuiloma, Eric Williamson sold this window. The Timbers are able to get rid of yet another attack. McNamara plays to Eric Miller and up that same flank to Guerra. Diop will go back to his keeper, Cisniega. So Portland gets Charlotte at Saturday on 10 a.m. Former interim head coach and assistant Miles Joseph is the associate head coach of Dean Smith in Charlotte right now. He'll know a thing or two about a lot of these players. Also the backup keeper there, David Bingham, the Timbers' backup in 2023. And the regular season starts for Portland. 3 out of their first 4 are at home. And their first 3 games are against all teams that have a first-year head coach. They start the season on February 23rd versus Vancouver, taking on Jesper Sorensen, formerly of Brøndby. Good ball by McNamara to Gage Guerra. Is he on for a brace? Indeed! A perfectly placed pass and an even better finish. Guerra with the goal. 3-0 Portland Timbers. Showing a great work rate up top, his speed and strength on display. Let's take another look at it as the Timbers grab yet another. McNamara not covered by anybody, and Guerra with fresh legs is able to beat past Diop and Pilcher and slot it to the left side netting. Guerra went back to Louisville last year, earned all ACC honors with 9 goals and 3 assists. He is signed with Timbers 2 through 2026. If you want to see him in action in Portland, I know all Timbers 2 games are free to attend at Providence Park. It's an MLS Next Pro team that just finished their 3rd year. They've had a better record every year. Talking to Tyler Heaps, the sporting director of San Diego FC. They're still in the works on their MLS Next Pro side. They don't have one yet. Eric Miller, room to run. First time cross. Ari Lassiter won't reach it in time. And then a foul looked like on Malcolm Johnston. Doesn't get it. Second opportunity. Hits off Johnston twice and then takes it in the face on the ground. That's a tough one. Thousands of fans watching from San Diego and Portland. Want to shout out one in particular, the Starrett family in Portland watching. Anibal Godoy up to Angel. Dreyer. Lozano squares up Eric Miller. Verskov finds him on the return. Maiten, just too heavy of a touch. But good creativity by Lozano to make something out of nothing on the edge of the final third. For Portland, I mentioned 3 of their first 4 at home, and they're 4 great games. First Vancouver, first-year head coach Jesper Sorensen. First Austin, a first-year head coach in Nico Estevez, though he was FC Dallas coach last year. Austin has spent big this offseason. Brandon Vasquez for $10 million, Muerto Uzuni for $12 million. A new look attack for sure in the Verde and Black. Their first road game will be at Nashville, where they take on BJ Callahan, signed, who actually worked with Mikey Veras, the San Diego coach with the U.S. national team. And then the return game, March 16th versus the defending champs, LA Galaxy. Last time they met, it was a 4-2 win for the Portland Timbers. And in fact, that's the last time Portland has won a competitive regular season game, on September. Verskov. That 4-2 win against the LA Galaxy in September was perhaps the best the Portland looked all year long. Taking down the eventual champions, the LA Galaxy. When those two meet, it's always fun considering the attackers that each side has. For San Diego, they'll start their campaign with the LA Galaxy before hosting St. Louis. The most recent team, expansion side in the Western Conference, St. Louis in 2023, 17 wins, 12 losses, and 5 draws. San Diego hoping they earn the #1 seed just as St. Louis so improbably did 2 years ago. And if you look at this St. Louis team compared to the San Diego one, on paper, bigger names are in Southern California than they were in the Midwest. Bradley Carnell, the former coach of St. Louis, now with the Philadelphia Union. Guerra, who's on a brace, takes a strong bump from behind from Pilcher. Anibal Godoy opens up the laces to Angel. In a sea of green, he'll have to retreat. Dreyer, Verskov, finding Negri, flick on to Chucky Lozano. Dreyer spills, looked like it may have touched his hand, and then Negri is chopped down. Malcolm Johnston confused by the whole set of action. Under 120 to go in regulation. Crepeau signaling for somebody to come check on Negri. Araujo and Negri going at it. Max Crepeau getting in the middle of it. I wouldn't say quite calming it down. Coming all the way across is the San Diego keeper, Cisniega. Negri goes back down after the shoving match. And this game is all but done and dusted. The Portland Timbers up 3-0. The man of the match has to be Gage Guerra with the brace. Lozano on your screen right now. 11 days away from playing his first MLS match. Now Negri will go off to the side as there's only 30 seconds left in this match. San Diego looks like to be playing with 10 players for the rest of the game. Anibal Godoy. Diop, who was outpaced by Gage Guerra a few moments ago for the third goal. Dreyer gets it taken off of him by Johnston. Diop. Cisniega squares it. We've hit the 90th. Head officials' discretion on how much we have left. Lozano against Eric Miller will open up the boot to Pilcher. Maiten. Pilcher yet again. This time more aggressive, and Dario Subric there to interject. Up the line to Gage Guerra. The sliding challenge is a good one. Godoy. Cisniega with his body language settling things down. And ultimately, Portland and San Diego play to a 3-0 scoreline with the Portland Timbers the ultimate victors. They'll have one more preseason match on the weekend against Charlotte. But in this match overall, Portland was dominant in the final scoreline and the action. I've been Adam Sussman. Portland 3, San Diego 0. Talk to you soon.